I went to the military and I went to signal school. I scored high on the electronics portion of the test. I think I scored like a 93. And I guess that was good. It was good enough to get me in signal school. Signal school is what they call electronics school for the Army. Well, you know what? For the Signal Corps, it was called Signal School, which is the electronics portion of it. You know, it's kind of hard to differentiate. Well, you have like infantry type people who do certain type jobs. You have people who have to repair machines, you know, like communications machines, like radars and stuff like that, you know. So I was thrust into, well, not wasn't thrust. I volunteered to go into the service for signal training, well, electronics training, communications equipment training. And I was successful in passing the course, and that's what I did for my 4 years. I sat on a bench and repaired machines when they broke. And these communication machines, I don't want to delve into the, specific types. Let's just leave it as they were electronic devices that I had to work on. And the high school gave me some basic knowledge of electronics, so I was able to answer some of the questions on the test, and it helped me get through electronics school. And I ended up spending 4 years as a technician in the Army, and I ended up going to basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I ended up, after that, going to my signal school training at Fort Gordon, Georgia. And that electronics training was 8 months and 3 weeks. I think it was like 32 weeks. I need to break that down. 8 times 4 is 32. So it was slightly over 8 months. So it may have been more than 32 weeks. May have been 34 weeks or something. But I ended up going to signal school, and after I trained in signal school, oh man, that reminds me, I met Yvonne Lewis and a guy named Colston there. Those were good friends. But anyway, after signal school, I went over to Germany. So now I have a year in the Army, and now I'm shipped over to Germany. I have to spend 2 years in Germany and then come back for my final year in the Army, back stateside. Those were that was the map for my my military career. That's how it was designed. When the military, when I joined, they had me going in for the training for a year, and then 2 years overseas, and then 1 year back in the States. So after I completed the studies, strangely enough, I got sent to Germany. I wanted Hawaii. Bubba had told me about Hawaii, and I wanted Hawaii. And we had to wait. Nobody knew where they were going to go. Not unless you negotiate. I had later learned that you can negotiate that going into the military. I didn't know that initially. But watch this. You can negotiate with the military. You can say, hey, I want to join, but I want to be stationed in, and you name the place. I want to be stationed in San Diego at an Army base, for an example. You can negotiate that, and you can negotiate your permanent duty station, which is what they call where your assignment is, your permanent duty station. You can negotiate that up front. I had no idea you could do that. I had no idea. I mean, that's the importance of reading. And once again, I failed to read. Where was I? Let me go. Back over to Germany. I didn't get Hawaii. I ended up with Würzburg, Germany, I had never heard of Würzburg, Germany. As a matter of fact, I didn't know much about Germany at all. But watch this. That ended up being my Germany duty, ended up being the greatest thing that could have happened to me. That ended up being the greatest thing that happened to me. Let me share with you. I got sent to Würzburg, Germany. Now, I've got the basketball out of my blood. I'm serious. I'm taking my job seriously. So we get sent into Frankfurt, Germany. And they said that, I think I got it. They said, hey, you're going to be assigned to, when we arrived, when the plane landed, it landed in Frankfurt, Germany. They said, you're going to be assigned to Würzburg, Germany at a base called the Hindenburg. So I went down to Hindenburg. And I'm in Würzburg, Germany. Now, this is what I mean by the greatest thing that could have happened to me. And keep in mind that low-end guy, not well educated, desire and hope and dreams, fair to everyone, not thoroughly schooled, but was nice enough that people would give you an opportunity. That's how my life was. I'd say that was my passage into some of the circles that opened for me. But watch this. I ended up going to Würzburg, Germany, and I'm working down there at the Communications Security Vault. And had a friend, Dale Geislinger. I mentioned earlier that I had a friend that had a patent. Dale Geislinger ended up getting a patent, an electronics patent later. He ended up going into the aviation field as we grew older. When he left the military and we grew older, he ended up in the aviation field and got a patent there. So I'm proud of him. I just discovered that recently too. But I had a friend named Gerald Lindsay. He was from Alabama. And I had a friend named Kelly Wells. He was from South Carolina. But Dale Geislinger, Greg Lindsay, Kelly Wells, and Tommy McGoy. God, man, that was a team. Nonetheless, they probably don't even remember me, but they'll always be dear to me. I've actually, at times, looked at their careers or tried to research them just to see how things were going. That's how I found out about Geislinger's patent. Found out he had a patent. I don't remember quite the patent. There's a lot of technical jargon, and I've since retired and left a lot of it behind. But we were well trained, and we all had a desire to do things in life. Gerald Lindsay ended up with a great life. Kelly Wells, I know Kelly Wells turned out well. I haven't actually heard from him, or I haven't been able to find out anything on him. But he was actually the more, Dale Geislinger, I forgot to say, he was from Iowa. Gerald Lindsay, Auburn, Alabama, and Kelly Wells, he was from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's where it was. Kelly Wells was really smart. As a matter of fact, he sent me a letter when we were getting out of the military, and he was trying to tell me to come out to California to become a wage grade worker with the government. I mean, he was really, really smart. Really smart, because I think his father at the time was something like a VP for an organization, and he understood, you know, everything it was to know about, you know, the hierarchy of business and stuff. And we weren't, I wasn't on that level at all. I'll be the first to admit. But we were all friends, and you know, this, before I go back to Wordsburg, I want to tell this story. I kind of referenced it, you know, but I didn't delve into it. And that is this. Watch this here. This is real important. I was talking about my Southern dialect and how I sound like I have a Southern tongue. Now, here's something that, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to present this to you and to you directly when I say this here, because this is the importance of judging people. Never ever, you know, you've heard about never judge a book by its cover. That is a true statement. Never judge a book by its cover because of this. You can take a person who sound as if they're uneducated, you know, heavy Southern dialect or tongue, and they will appear uneducated. I'm not speaking of myself here. I'm speaking of an experience that I had. And this is why I will never ever judge anybody by their tongue. I'm studying at Southern Illinois University. And when I said Alabama, talking about Auburn, Alabama, and Gerald Lindsay, it made me think of this story. I'm studying at Southern Illinois University. And I'm in this program. I'm being taught by Dr. Nippenberg. He's teaching us optoelectronics in this particular class. And we had a guy come join our class. And by the way, I studied with Andrew Beckett and Elbert Atwater. I'll never forget those two guys because we went through the program together. Andrew Beckett, Elbert Atwater. Elbert Atwater, I think he ended up making Sergeant Major in the Army. I can't quite remember. It's been a while. But we all went through Southern Illinois University's electronics management program. And we were taking a class from Dr. Nippenberg called optoelectronics. We had a new guy started the program. You know, he came in the middle. We were in this optoelectronics class, and Dr. Nippenberg teaching us all of the theories around optoelectronics. And this guy in the back of the room, he was asking questions. And he was from Alabama. I can't call his name. I wish I remembered his name because he was real important to my being able to see things differently. He had a heavy Alabama accent, and he sounded almost, and I tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, I judged him before I even got to know him. We were in class talking, you know, we had to introduce ourselves, you know, when we first started, and then you take questions along the way, and, you know, you ask questions of the instructor along the way. He had a heavy Alabama tongue. And I don't think dialect would be the word to use, so I'm kind of stuck on that word. But he ended up speaking so, you know, it was so growly that I was like, this guy can't be serious. You know, how can he even be in school? That was my initial thought. But it was the dumbest thing that's ever happened to me. That's why I think I remember it more than anything. I'll never ever judge a man, woman, or child by how they speak, because he had this Southern tongue, but yet when it came to talking electronics, he ran circles around us. I mean, he knew everything from microwave technology all the way through microprocessing. He even had a footprint in optoelectronics, and we were just starting the course. And I don't know if he had the book earlier or not, but he was astute. He was well-rounded. He was smart, let me put it that way, and intelligent. And yet, when I judged him, I looked at his tongue. I judged the man by his tongue. Well, I'll never, ever, ever make that mistake again. I've carried that lesson with me through life, and it's only popped up one other time that I recognized it and responded. It may have happened again, but the time that I recognized it and responded was this. I'm working with NCR Corporation, 100-year-old company, and I'm a field engineer. I run around the city working on personal computers and printers and just electronic equipment. We made a lot of different product lines, everything from cash registers to banking equipment, just everything, sorters. And we just worked, that company made it all, and we trained on it all, and we were just well-rounded when it came to working on those devices. Where was I going? Come here, come back to me, where are you? I have got to cut this out, but I just lost my train of thought. Again. I was so eager to tell that story about, I'm back. I was talking about the bad tongue and the southernness. Now watch this here. I have a heavy southern tongue. I'm aware of it. I'm up in Ohio. I work for NCR. That's how I deviated, but I'm back. I'm up in Ohio with NCR. And I go out one night and I'm sitting at a bar all alone. I don't know anybody in town. At the time, I'd have a beer or two. I'm a non-drinker now, but at one time, when I was younger, this was back in the 90s. This was the 90s. I did indulge, but not heavily and not consistently. But anyway, I'm sitting at this bar, and it was two guys and this girl. They were sitting there, and we started talking. And they heard the way I was speaking, and they started mocking me and talking about how country I was. And at this time, I had a bachelor's degree. I hadn't started working on my master's yet. I had a bachelor's degree. And they started mocking me, talking about how country I was and all of this stuff, So I hit them with some, let's call it intellectual bandwidth, for lack of a better term. And I told them that I was where they once were. And I told them the story about the guy from Alabama and how he ended up being the smartest out of all of us. And I was like, you have to be careful when you listen to a man's tongue, because when you start delving into or reaching into his head, you'll be shocked at some of the things that he might share with you. And by the time I finished, making that statement and a couple other statements, but I had their attention at that time, and they started listening to me. And then they realized they had misjudged me. My whole purpose was I was trying to stop the mockery, but I realized that I had a intellectual bandwidth also that exceeded theirs. And I didn't abuse it. I didn't hurt their feelings in any way, because there's a responsibility as you become educated. You don't want to make people feel low. You want to be able to sweep a floor and sit in a penthouse. You want to be able to talk to a janitor and hold a conversation with the CEO, so you can never become ungrounded or lose your footing. But after I finished talking with them, I realized that, or they realized, I should say, they realized that I was more than just a Southern tongue. And then we ended up having a nice little conversation for the rest of the time. But had to tell their story about judging people. Be careful not to judge people, because people can be kind and smart when they look foolish, and kindness, I guess you could say, look upset. Nah, that wouldn't, those two don't go hand in hand. Well, just, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there, or catch my meaning. But I guess one of the things you could say is perception is a big deal. You know, you can perceive things and you can be completely wrong about it. You know, you can see things and you can formulate an idea, and your idea be completely wrong. That's why you have to be open to change. If you misjudge, let's say, for example, if you're working on a problem, you may start off approaching that problem incorrectly. But all you have to do is take a breath, go get a glass of water, breathe, come back, look at the same project or problem, and address it a different way. Look at it differently, because sometimes a step back, you can see things more clearly. So I would charge you with making sure that, well, I charge everyone with making sure that you do that. That way you don't, you don't bottleneck yourself into a specific category in your thinking. Keep that open mind. That way you're well-rounded. All right, let's see here. I think what I'm gonna do is, what did I say I want to do next? I need to, I mentioned I need to probably focus on this camera lens. I find myself not looking at it at times, but nonetheless, I want to give you eye-to-eye contact, and hopefully, as this message is resonating with you, that it do look like I'm delivering it to you successfully. Let's see here. I was talking about Wurzburg. I ended up leaving Wurzburg, Germany, going down to Karlsruhe, Germany, and then up to Bremerhaven, Germany. Karlsruhe, Germany, only stayed, I was over in Germany for 2 years. I love that place. It's the first place I saw that had cobblestone streets. I had to get used to it, but it ended up, I realize now that there's a lot of history over in Europe. I look at some of the buildings that I saw. I mean, some old buildings and stuff, because I did travel around. I got on the bus, got on the train, got a chance to see a few sites and stuff. It's a lot of tradition there. I wish I could get back to visit it again. Anyway, I was talking about Karlsruhe and Bremerhaven. After leaving Wurzburg, I went down to Karlsruhe, Germany for a few months, and then up to Bremerhaven, Germany for a few months before transitioning back to the States. And when I was in Karlsruhe, it was two significant things that happened to me there. The two things that happened to me there that jumps out at me right now is, I used to walk past a bakery every morning going to work. And this bakery, I mean, I was, working, I was living in the military barracks, and we worked in a different facility. But I walked past this bakery every day, and they had fresh pastries every single day. And that was the first time in my life that I had been that close to that sort of a environment or system. No, it's not a system. Let's call it an environment. Here's what I mean. We had Wonder Bread. No. We had Colonial Bread Factory in Memphis, quite a ways away from several miles away. But whenever I was in that area, you could smell the fresh bread. I used to love going past Colonial Bread just because the smell used to be in the air. Lovely smell. But I walked past this bakery, and every morning you could smell that freshness of those pastries and stuff. And I got to the point where, like, I couldn't afford it every day, but I got to the point where at least twice a week, I would stop in there, maybe sometimes 3 times a week, I would stop in there and get pastries, and the German coin is like the mark, the M-A-R-K mark, Dutch marks, I think that's what they call them. And I used to have my Dutch marks available and ready, and I used to buy these pastries every day. Not every day, but every few days, and that was significant. The other significant, I got to come back, leave it at the pastries. Going to end it here and come back to the pastries later.